right. Welcome, everybody, to Bark Tank 2025. How's everybody doing tonight? Yes. So my name is Jeff Reed. I'm the founding director of Georgetown Entrepreneurship. I have the best job in the world. I get to work with amazing student entrepreneurs, alumni. We get to do so many fun things here. And this is my favorite time of the year. We got the giant light bulb outside. We've got 8 student startups that are going to pitch here tonight. Excited to be here for Bark Tank. I want to thank our judges, our coaches. You'll hear more about all these folks that put things together here soon. But a couple of groups I want to point out here before we dive in. We have a group of special guests here today. I want to have them just maybe stand up and wave real quick. And these are my counterparts from Jesuit universities around the world. We have an organization we call the Jesuit Entrepreneur Center Alliance, and we've been collaborating and meeting earlier today to share best practices on how we can spread this idea of entrepreneurship for the common good around the world. So will my colleagues from JECA please stand up and wave? We got people from all over the world. Thank you so much. And just next up, before we dive in, a quick shout out to the Entrepreneurship Initiative team. Ben, Aveline, Jacob, Lucinda, a lot of them, they're running around making things happen behind the scenes. Thank you guys so much. We had a lot going on. We also had our Entrepreneurship Advisory Group meeting today. We've got the Entrepreneurship Summit and awards tomorrow. It's just an exciting time. But next, my job is to hand over to your MC for tonight. And I'm excited to do this. Our MC is Andres Brillenborg. I try to say it in a French accent just for fun. Andres is not just last year's top dog, which means our Bark Tank top prize winner from our last event. He's also a double Hoya. He graduated in, let's see, well, you see the class years are somewhere up here. Where are we? There we go. Andres, the SFS class of 2017 and MBA from last year, and the founder of Hilda. He was our student entrepreneur of the year last year, and his business, Hilda, is an AI workforce platform for the $150 billion home care industry. He's worked in startups before founding Hilda, and he's continuing to grow his company. Please join me in welcoming Andres to the stage as our MC for this year's Bark Tank. Andres.
Testing. All right. Hello, guys. How's everyone doing? Good? You guys excited? All right. So Bark Tank's probably the biggest night of the year on campus. And I feel honored to be serving as your MC tonight. So as Jeff mentioned, I am a proud double Hoya. Not only did I meet my wife here on campus as an undergrad, but Georgetown's played an influential role in my entrepreneurial journey. I first came here more than 10 years ago to study at the SFS with plans to serve in government because I thought that was the best way to make a difference. But it was on the hilltop where I learned that entrepreneurship is actually one of the most powerful vehicles to affect positive change in the world. And that idea stuck with me. When I came back from my MBA in 2022, I leveraged every resource available to launch Hilda. The MBA Startup Fellowship, Rocket Pitch, the Venture Lab, and just 9 months ago, I stood on this very stage at Bark Tank, nervous as hell, pitching Hilda to this big audience and this impressive panel of judges. I started Hilda, as Jeff mentioned, to solve a problem very close to my heart. My wife's grandpa, Etchi, struggled for years to find reliable home care. And when I started looking into it, I realized that millions of Americans like Etchi are facing this exact same problem. As our population ages, demand for home care is surging, but home care providers across the country are facing a workforce crisis. They're crippled by staffing shortages, and they need help both recruiting and retaining caregivers and clinicians. And that's where Hilda comes in. Like me, every single one of these founders here tonight is focused on a problem they care deeply about. their ideas aren't just ideas. They're hypotheses and belief systems about what a better world looks like. From protecting election integrity to powering global trade, these founders aren't afraid to dream big. That spirit of taking the path less traveled in pursuit of some greater purpose, that's what Georgetown is all about. These founders having access to this community already gives them an incredibly unfair advantage. And that's not just me saying it. You can look at the numbers. What these startups, what Hoya entrepreneurs have achieved thus far is nothing short of extraordinary. First, we have Margarita Womack of Maspanadas. She employs over 100 people in the DMV, distributes her frozen empanadas nationally through Walmart, Whole Foods, and other retailers. Most importantly, she just secured a partnership with none other than Monumental Sports and Entertainment for her empanadas to be offered at Capital One Arena. All right, you guys are getting the idea. I like the applause. Let's keep that going. So other standouts tonight include the cybersecurity juggernaut Adlumin, which was founded by Robert Johnson, who pitched at Bark Tank 7 years ago. The venture was acquired in fall 2024 for $250 million. And we have Claudia Recchi, who's here with us tonight. She's one of our judges, and there was just a recent announcement that her company, EdSites, raised an $80 million round to continue to grow their ed tech venture at universities throughout the country. These and many other Bark Tank companies continue to grow, pursue entrepreneurial success, and make a difference in countless people's lives. All right, now I'd like to introduce and thank some of the people that have made tonight possible, starting with our incredible coaches. So my two coaches were Dave and Rose, and there is absolutely no way that I could have won Bark Tank without them. These coaches spend countless hours training, providing feedback to our founders to refine their pitches so they can shine tonight. So we have 16 coaches here tonight, 2 per team. There are 8 teams. I'd like them to please stand right now so we can give them a big round of applause. Thank you, coaches. All right, and now introducing our incredible judges. These are some of the busiest and most accomplished business leaders you'll ever meet. And yet they've decided to dedicate time, despite their busy schedules, to be here with us tonight to provide invaluable feedback to these startups. And we are very, very thankful that you all are here supporting the Georgetown community. So I'd first like to introduce and thank our first judge, Patrick Ryan. Patrick is the national managing partner of strategy and markets at KPMG Advisory, where he leads the firm's DC market hub and U.S. federal government business. Thank you, Patrick. Our second judge tonight is Dr. Polymeropoulos, Mihail Polymeropoulos, who co-founded Vanda Pharmaceuticals and has served in various capacities, including as president, CEO, and chairman of the board since May 2003. Thank you, Mihail. Our third judge tonight is Soika Diggs Colbert. Dr. Colbert is a proud Hoya alumna She's also a distinguished scholar in Black theater, literature, and performance. She was appointed interim provost at Georgetown following the retirement of President John DeGioia. Thank you, Sohika. Like Dr. Colbert, Michael Prager, our fourth judge, is also a proud Hoya alum. He's a co-founder and CEO of Avid Exchange, a leading innovator in financial technology. Under his leadership, Avid Exchange has become a driving force in automating accounts payable for businesses across the country. Thank you, Dr. Colbert. Our fifth judge is Michelle Freeman, and while she's not a Hoya alumna herself, she is the proud parent of a Hoya. She's also the CEO of the Carl M. Freeman Companies, as well as a minority owner in Monumental Sports and Entertainment and the Washington Spirit. Thank you, Michelle, for being here. Our sixth judge tonight, I've already briefly introduced her, is Claudia Recchi. She's a Hoya alum. She was also actually a former classmate of mine. Claudia is a proud graduate of the McDonough School of Business and a Bark Tank finalist from 2018 with her company ClassPulse, which she co-founded with her sister. They have since turned their focus to EdSites, a retention solution that uses predictive analytics to help universities identify and help students at risk of dropping out. They've already partnered with over 240 universities. Thank you, Claudia, for being here. All right, our seventh judge is Zach Ocean. Zach is a proud graduate of the SFS and a Bark Tank finalist as well from 2018 with his company Elenas. Elenas is a social commerce platform which has empowered over 100,000 women in Latin America to build online storefronts. He's been recognized on Forbes 30 Under 30 and supports early stage startups as an angel investor and advisor. Thank you, Zach, for being here. All right, and lastly, we have the founders of Bark Tank, Ted and Zach Leonsis. Ted is a Georgetown alum himself and the proud parent of two Hoyas. He's a visionary entrepreneur, philanthropist, and the owner of Monumental Sports and Entertainment, which includes none other than the Washington Capitals, the Wizards, and the Mystics. Thank you, Ted, for being here. And our last judge is Zach Leonsis, who's Ted's son. He's a proud graduate of the MBA program here at the McDonough School of Business. He serves as the president of media and new enterprises at Monumental Sports. With a focus on digital transformation, he leads efforts to innovate sports media, streaming, and fan engagement. Thank you, Zach. You're all an amazing group of people. We are very, very grateful to have your support and have you here with us tonight. Thank you. Okay, now with that, we're turning to the game plan for this evening. Pretty simple. We have 8 startups tonight who are pitching. Every single pitch is 3 minutes long. They'll be followed by a Q&A of 5 minutes. And in between each pitch, I will be talking about Georgetown entrepreneurship, the program, and some of the amazing opportunities available to you on campus to get involved with Georgetown entrepreneurship. There's 4 criteria that the judges will be scoring the startups on: feasibility, team values, and impact. And the startup that basically hits on these 4 criteria the best will be ranked higher. Okay. All right, so that concludes the setup and logistics for this evening. So there's one last thing I would like to do before we get into the amazing pitches. As I've mentioned, these founders have worked incredibly hard to be here tonight. It takes a lot of guts to stand right here on the stage and speak in front of you all and share an idea that you hold very close to your chest. So it's a big, big deal what these founders are here to do tonight. I would like to ask them to all please stand up and let's give them a big, big round of applause.
This is just direct.
All right, now the moment we've all been waiting for. I'd like to welcome our first startup onto the stage, Capsy.
Ted, I tried to imagine what your days here at Georgetown might have looked like. Whether it be hanging out in the dorm room with your friends, playing football on the front lawn, or cheering on Georgetown at a basketball game. You take your camera to your nearest drugstore and wait days or maybe even weeks for your film to get developed. And when you finally got those pictures back, I bet you it felt like Christmas morning. Hi, my name is Brooke Rogers. I'm a sophomore here at Georgetown, and I built Capsy to bring this same anticipation back. Right now, people in my generation are taking over 6,500 photos and videos per year. We feel constant pressure to edit, curate, and post for validation, with over 83% of Gen Z reporting social media anxiety. We're documenting everything but experiencing nothing, essentially creating highlight reels of our lives instead of actual memories. So, with Capsy, we're targeting 70 million members of Gen Z with smartphones in a social photo market valued at $8 billion. Current players like Snapchat, BeReal, and Visco have proven demand, but Capsy is the only player that combines collaboration with time-locked blind reveal. So how does the app actually work? Whether it's a spring break trip, or an entire semester in college, you and your friends create a Capsy and set a date for it to unlock in the future. Now, during this locked period of time, everyone's adding in videos and pictures that no one can see. And the key here is that all content must be taken in-app exclusively, so you can't pull from your camera roll. Then, when this unlock date finally rolls around, you and your friends get to relive these memories together for the first time. So we're not only changing the experience, but we're changing the behavior. Right now, young people are taking 100 versions of the same photo, but with Capsy, you take it once and move on, since you can't see it yet anyways. No more pressure and no more curation. This summer, I worked in Georgetown's Summer Launch Incubator, where I conducted 10 weeks of intensive beta testing through 85 builds and 15 test flight rounds. I was initially rejected from the App Store on August 11th, but through quick iteration was able to go live on the 13th. I also navigated a 2-month name dispute, but was able to claim legal rights to the name just days before launch. Now we're pivoting towards a proven freemium model where most users stay free, but power users pay $4.99 a month for enhanced features like unlimited storage, unlimited Capsies, and custom unlock settings. Now, Capsy embodies all of Georgetown's Jesuit values, but none more so than Cura Personalis, as we are addressing the Gen Z mental health crisis and caring for the whole person. Do you remember that? Oh, I'm sorry. In terms of funding, I'm looking for $19,000 to put towards marketing, as our biggest need right now is growth and distribution. I then want to put $8,000 towards technical development, as I'm currently bottlenecking all features solo, and finally $3,000 towards partnerships for things like institutional outreach. Do you remember that feeling I talked about at the beginning? That joy when you get those photos back for the first time? Join me in bringing this same feeling back to Gen Z. Thank you.
So where are you in the development right now?
Yes, so the app is currently live on the App Store. We launched about 2 months ago in August. And we have done 2 pilot programs, one through Georgetown's Build Orientation Program, where we got 80 users, and another from my hometown school program, where we got another 50 users.
Can you talk more about the values proposition and how it's addressing mental health?
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to pan to a slide right here. Right now, Gen Z is so caught up in the instant nature of social media, where everything is so curated. You have to ruminate over your photos and look for validation from others, but we're really looking to change the behavior and have more authentic photo sharing. I actually want to show this slide, which proves Gen Z's current change in behavior. Even though we're notoriously known as the most logged on generation, we're actively looking for ways to break away from traditional social media since it feels so performative and under pressure, which is shown here by the massive surge in the digital camera market. We're looking for ways to be offline and actually make meaningful memories without just having our camera roll absolutely overwhelmed by pictures that we're looking to use for posting instead of actually experiencing. Yes?
What was your personal role in this?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think I personally am my own target demographic, which is why I'm so excited about the product. I got Instagram, I think, when I was in 6th grade, so I've been on social media ever since I can remember. Just the entire nature of it is so performative. I'm always trying to impress other people, and I realized that I'm taking all this time, even on trips, trying to take pictures with me and my friends, but I'm not actually living in the moment and enjoying that experience. Instead, I'm trying to think about how I can perform online. So with Capsy, this really takes that away, and since you can't see the pictures anyways, you're just capturing it, making memories with your friends, and actually living in the moment.
Is there anything technically develop this?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Were you involved in the technical development?
Oh yes, I actually solo developed the app. I also leveraged AI to help me, but I completely built out the app on my own.
Is there anything about the technology that you can patent? What protects you from Instagram developing this same technology?
That's a great question. There's actually no other players right now using the time-locked blind reveal, even though apps like BeReal have mastered the authenticity where you have to take content in-app. There's no time lock or blindness, which the second I came up with the idea and got the name, I trademarked the name and the idea of the time-locked blind reveal.
How do you plan?
The average, that you're gonna, how long would it be that you would then reveal the pictures? What do you think that the opportune time is to reveal what you've put in the time lapse?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. From early users so far, we've seen that most people have been setting their unlock dates between 5 and 20 days from the creation of the Capsy. So usually it would be things for trips, but we've also seen people doing it for entire semesters in colleges. So it really ranges, but generally between 5 and 20 days.
How do you plan on getting enough critical mass for it to feel relevant, where you log in and you're seeing your friends, and how do you plan to expand?
Yeah, that's a great question. Right now, we have a lot of social proof within the app, so whenever someone adds a picture to the Capsy or adds a video, you get a notification on your phone saying so-and-so added a picture, added a video. You also get a lot of notifications reminding you, this Capsy opens in 2 days, this Capsy opens in 24 hours. But we also have features that you can share your Capsy. Once you open the Capsy, you get a video that's basically a slideshow of all the content, which you can share to other traditional social media apps like Snapchat and Instagram and TikTok.
Can you drive revenue off of the free users?
Right now, we're completely free, and we're just trying to prove product market fit through the free users and get this viral loop going. So no revenue yet, but once we implement the freemium model, then we'll start looking at revenue.
What metrics are you looking at if you're not charging right now? What metrics are you looking at on those initial cohorts to understand if you have product market fit? What are those kind of KPIs you're looking at?
Yeah, excellent question. We've got our KPIs right now are showing that 85% of users are creating multiple Capsies with an average of 43 videos and pictures per Capsy and an average of 5 to 8 friends contributing to each Capsy. So our current KPIs are looking positive and strong.
The biggest investment is on the marketing side. What are the, say the top 3 channels that you're focused on to get users?
Yeah, that's a great question. I actually want to pan back to this slide that I was showing at first. The idea originated from a trend that went viral in the winter of 2024 on TikTok called the Snapchat Do Not Open trend. Essentially, people were trying to make a manual workaround in Snapchat to create the exact native experience that Capsy offers. So they were creating these group chats in Snapchat, naming them Do Not Open. They're all sending in pictures and videos over a use case and forcing themselves to wait. So we see that delayed gratification is something that Gen Z actively wants, and this was blowing up on TikTok with over 1 million engagements. Even in the comment section here, you can see that someone commented, imagine you made one for a whole year and opened it at the end of the year, to which another user replied they had tried this with their friends, but that Snapchat deleted them not after too long. Thanks.
All right, so This is the first of many promotions that you'll hear tonight. There's a ton of ways to get involved with entrepreneurship at Georgetown, whether you're looking to brainstorm startup ideas at our exciting Ideathon, pitch your next big project at Open Mic Pitch Nights, or connect with like-minded changemakers over dinners and workshops. We've got you covered. Georgetown Entrepreneurship partners with student organizations across campus to host inspiring events and foster innovation. Student partners receive support and access to funding in exchange for their efforts to promote entrepreneurship throughout the university. All right. On to our second pitch. Next up, we have Tariff IQ.
Good to go. All right. How are we doing? International trade thrives on predictability, but right now it's chaos. Let me give you an example of what that looks like. So let's take a US apparel manufacturer. They make premium wool shirts. They've imported under the same tariff codes for years, thinking that their duty rates are fixed. But when we ran their data through Tariff IQ, our platform actually recommended something that their team didn't notice. That if they changed their product materially from 36% wool down to 35.9% wool, they could actually reclassify their product and save a whopping 51% on their tariff bill overnight. And that's what happens when AI makes trade. Chaos becomes clarity. I'm happy to say that tonight, our first customer, Jesse, is actually here in the audience. Jesse runs a small veteran-owned business right here in the district. And they use Tariff IQ to optimize smartly and protect their margins so they can grow their business predictably. But better yet, today, we launched our first product. You can scan this code right here or visit tariffiq.co and join us, because this isn't a small problem. We built Tariff IQ because it's actually a $32 trillion market, and nearly every importer that we interviewed actually struggles with tariff complexity. So what I will say is we win because we've optimized smarter. Our competitors in this space charge hundreds, if not thousands of dollars per month per seat. And we've optimized better. Not to mention our team. Our team from Georgetown's Masters of International Business and Policy program is unmatched. I've spent more than a decade in tech. I'm the Chief of Artificial Intelligence for the U.S. Army Reserve's Intelligence Command. Harold is a product director here at Georgetown's Beck Center. John advises governments worldwide on trade and investment policy. And Campbell is a legislative director in the House of Representatives. So from the military to Capitol Hill to international governments, we've turned complexity into clarity. So with the $30,000 tonight, what we want to do is we want to actually build out our cloud infrastructure. We want to onboard 5 major pilot customers, and we want to bring small businesses the opportunity to fight and win. So join us. We are Tariff IQ, and we are bringing predictability back to trade. Thanks, buddy. I didn't realize this.
Explain the 36% to 35% and why that triggered a big savings, and what data did you get, and how was the data there that you were able to get an insight that a company that's been doing it for a long time didn't have?
Perfect.
Sure. Typically when people sign up start their small businesses, they classify their tariffs into one code. They don't ever think about it again. So they normally follow the instructions of whoever their manufacturer might be or whatever that might be. What we did with our product is we have looked at court rulings. We've looked at the entirety of the HTS schedule to be able to look at things that are both hierarchically similar but also semantically similar, so that we can find opportunities where there are places to make small changes and save a lot of money. So by moving from one code to the other without a lot of effort, you were able to save significant funds.
So it's a tariff agent that you'll be marketing. What is it that you're selling? The platform or the ability to download the agent and go find this info?
So Tariff IQ is both a proprietary algorithm and a website where you can go in with your seat and you can unlock savings that you never knew you probably would have had. If you're a small business and you might not know what is the advantage of switching from classifying your product with one code versus another, this site helps you figure that out, figure out what's the most optimal change you could make, and then unlock those savings, which we think is incredibly important for so many SMEs around the country that don't have access to this kind of information that otherwise is paid by very high-priced consultants.
Maybe follow up to Ted's question. What's the revenue model?
Sure. So we have a seat subscription that will get you access to the information for $99 a month. So there's a direct subscription rate, and we've already had a number of target customers onboarded through that. So it is ultimately trying to scale to more businesses that can check that. And look, you can both use that to figure out if your products could get better savings, but you can also do that to track your tariff codes over time and see at what level your market's fluctuating and how that might inform your business. So we're unlocking that information for customers who otherwise wouldn't have access to it.
So do you have their data, or is this running on their platform?
I'm sorry, Farley.
Oh, the data?
Yeah.
I couldn't hear that question.
So on the product side, from the actual companies, so they would actually upload their data once they're a paying customer, and then we would actually auto-recommend based on their products HTS codes. So they would upload, and what's differentiated in market is other competitors are actually, they just lead you to a team of analysts that asks you to pay $500 an hour to talk to them. Ours actually proactively leverages AI to recommend how to move into a better tariff code by small changes in your product.
How do you differentiate your platform from the ever-increasing platforms of AI that are relatively free? Let's say, why can't you ask Grok?
So you can't ask Grok because the information's not as reliable as the data set that we've curated for this. So that means that if you want to have data set that could hallucinate tariff codes, might give you any kind of information that wouldn't actually be accurate, sure, go ahead. But what we provide you with is verified information that we've curated with our proprietary algorithm to make sure that the product you're putting in, you're getting the most similar options and the most likely savings you can have for your product. So it's far higher quality, but at a price that we think can actually reach a market that otherwise wouldn't have access to it.
Tariffs are a hot button issue with this administration, but I assume there are other administrations where tariffs haven't been deployed. Just over the course of history, do you guys see the relevance of tariffs fluctuating? And in the future, how do you protect against maybe a future where tariffs aren't as relevant?
Sure. I mean, just to say that I think this product is relevant regardless of whether or not tariffs are fluctuating. That's to say that tariffs impact importers and exporters, if it's increasing, decreasing, but the opportunity that you can have as an SME is consistent even without these changes right now. You could still have a huge differential if you simply looked more closely at what your tariff code is. Small tweaks to your product. For example, if you're selling shampoo, tariff code is different if you're selling it separately versus if you're selling it as a kit. So these kind of small changes are things that most SMEs don't even think about but can unlock massive savings and at the very least give them a lot more predictable market in this increasingly unpredictable international trade landscape.
Have you guys thought about the potential risk implications of relying on this and then having changes in the tariff code or having tariff authorities decide differently on things that have come out of your algorithm?
Totally. So, I mean, this is something we've thought about extensively since the beginning of this. What is the liability for, individuals using ours and then making a decision? Obviously, we keep the most up-to-date information we can, but we are bound by the latest information that is available, which admittedly does change. And that's a lot of what this initial investment goes into. It allows us to bring the product to the next scale, make sure it's updated even more frequently, so that you can be assured that the information you're getting is the most reliable. But we do have, as of these dates, for every time we update it, so that you can be sure that what you're having is as current as possible.
Well done.
So we support the creation and growth of startups and vibrant entrepreneurial ecosystems in DC and around the world. You may have heard that the AI venture Mercor, founded by Hoya's Brendan Foody and Surya Mida, is being described as one of the fastest growing AI companies on the planet. It is valued at $10 billion and matched tens of thousands of developers with hundreds of employers across the globe. It started right here in our venture ecosystem while they were undergrads. In addition to all the great programming for current students, we also offer many ways to help alumni entrepreneurs grow their businesses, because being an entrepreneur can be pretty lonely. The isolation of having no entrepreneurial community can make one quit many, many times. Don't let being lonely stop you from building your dream. With a vibrant and eclectic crew of Georgetown entrepreneurs, experienced coaches, private investor events, and dedicated partners, the Leonsis Venture Labs network of support is ready to help you and your startup create the future. The Georgetown Venture Lab is a dedicated workspace on the Capitol Campus, DC, for full-time alumni entrepreneurs to launch and grow their businesses with support from the Georgetown entrepreneurship ecosystem. All right. Now with that, third pitch of the night, I'd like to welcome Skincare Connector to the stage.
So as an older brother, it's my job to be there for my younger sister. So when she came to me with an acne breakout, I was there to help. But when we went to the store, we were completely overwhelmed by the amount of options. And in fact, we're not the only ones. 79% of skincare users feel overwhelmed by the amount of options they have, which is why I, Anant Bansal, a freshman studying pre-med at Georgetown University, decided to create Skincare Connector. Skincare Connector is the concept of an app that uses AI to provide unbiased skincare recommendations, identify conditions, and track your progress over time. So what this looks like is you open the app, you take a selfie, the AI model tells you your condition like rosacea or hyperpigmentation or acne, and then it tells you the specific products that work best with your skin and your condition. And then it tracks your progress over time with daily selfies to tell you what you should switch and what you should keep. We're the only skincare tool in the industry that has unbiased AI recommendations while also tracking progress. And as you all know, the skincare industry is huge with a $200 billion revenue. We did some customer discovery, interviewed and surveyed over 100 potential customers, and honed in on our target consumer group as the 14 to 25 female range. 83% of these people said that they would be using our MVP, and in this group, we also have my younger sister. Now in this picture, she's getting ready for prom and she wants to look pretty. And just like her, all of you have family members who want to feel more confident and better about their skin. We'd be getting our first 100 customers by reaching out to campus clubs and reaching out to the people we surveyed. Then our next 15,000 customers would be found by leveraging influencer connections as well as company partnerships. We'd be making money through a $8 monthly subscription model with five recommendations and tracking, as well as commission with affiliate link sales and data brokerage. So we'd be telling companies how their products are working. We're asking for $30,000 to create an MVP focused mostly on acne, as well as doing a lean launch. And we have a robust team that's here to support us and ensure that we develop in line with technical and beauty standards. Overall, Skincare Connector is really built on the ideas of Cura Personalis and Jesuit values by caring for the whole person, making you feel confident about your self-image and your skincare, impacting diverse communities by providing unbiased recommendations, and ensuring that everyone can access skincare. So let Skincare Connector connect you with the skincare you need. Thank you so much.
unbiased, do you mean, what do you mean by unbiased?
Yeah, so really unbiased in two ways. First of all, unbiased in the sense that we're not recommending our own products. So we really are going to be blind about the the recommendations being set, in the sense that we want to make sure that the product that's being recommended is really the best product for the skin, because we don't have anything to do with that. And the second way is that throughout our customer discovery, what we found was that diverse communities are very underrepresented in dermatology and product formulation as well as recommendation. And we wanted to use more diverse data sets to ensure that our model is catering to all races and all ethnicities and all skin types.
Is it for beauty or for health?
It's for beauty.
And how do you know that it's the right product?
The way that they know that it's the right product is we tell them your skin condition is like this, and this is what helps. These are the formulations. This is how it looks like when it's infiltrating your skin. We would be looking to do like infographics or short videos, which shows that a product actually doing all of the solutions.
You mentioned acne, rosacea, and hyperpigmentation, but these are health conditions.
Well, the reason is that we're really focusing more so on therapeutic products, and less. We don't want to touch the prescription space. We're doing recommendations, not diagnosis, and not prescription. So just things that make people more confident about their skin, and we're trying to help them gain a borderline understanding of their own health.
Are there other people in this space? Who else is out there that's doing this? Are there other websites or apps that are already doing this?
Yeah, so our biggest competitor is really Neutrogena. They have a website that has an AI scanner similar to this, but it's inaccurate and it's not ergonomic for the user. I actually went through it with a dermatologist, and he told me that the recommendations were completely incorrect. And the reason behind this is that Neutrogena isn't a technical company. Its AI model is really just a marketing gimmick for it to push its own products through. It's also biased in its recommendations.
Can I ask you a follow-up? Why wouldn't you, or why didn't you tie the revenue model to the products as a partnership between the products? I mean, that would be, you would then keep the user from not paying in monthly, and you could, I would imagine there would be a lot of money there.
We're definitely exploring the different ways that we could make money out of this. This is what we currently validated with our customer discovery. The reason that we haven't thought about that yet, well, we've thought about it, but we haven't done it yet, is simply because we really want to make sure that the customer has trust in our product, and we want to be completely transparent that we don't have connections with these companies other than the affiliate link commission.
So I just went to the Neutrogena site you recommended, and obviously they're selling their products, but they've got armies of insurance backing and doctors standing behind them. What liability would be here? It's only going to take one or two people that you recommend put something on and they're allergic or something bad happens. What will happen then to your company?
Yeah, so first of all, a lot of the liability shifts to the actual products if they aren't doing what they promised, but we also have responsibility as the company making the recommendations. And that's why we're going to be very transparent about the fact that we aren't dermatologists, and our advice is purely therapeutic. We aren't trying to substitute the dermatologist, and you should really, at the end, trust your best judgment.
So somebody could just go to ChatGPT and ask kind of a general purpose model for suggestions about their skin. If you're trying to provide better solutions than that, or unbiased solutions, as you mentioned, you need some kind of proprietary data set that ChatGPT doesn't have. So how are you planning on training your models?
Absolutely. So first of all, ChatGPT doesn't do well in image analysis. It shows very low accuracy when it comes to identifying the specific condition you have, which regions, and then the product recommendation is another story. The way that we would make sure that this is proprietary is, first of all, through taking a very scientific approach with the development of our AI model. There's a lot of research being done right now on things similar to this in the medical space, and we would ensure that we, first of all, don't use a pre-trained AI and machine learning model. We would be training our own machine learning model, and we would be using data that is labeled clearly by a dermatologist. So the dermatologist himself will be putting squares around the specific conditions, and the dermatologist is telling us what products work for what conditions.
Okay, so we have a couple of giveaways tonight. We got tickets to games, and we got a signed jersey. So we're gonna go in order here. The first, where's the first giveaway? The first giveaway are Caps tickets. And just one important housekeeping thing. For the winners, do not come down to the stage to receive your tickets right now. We will email you, and you guys can pick them up later. All right, so our winner for the Caps tickets is Natalia Araujo. Congratulations. Yeah, it is random. Yeah, no bias here. Yeah, all right. So second giveaway is a jersey, and it's a jersey of none other than Alex Ovechkin. Yep. It's autographed. Can't forget to say that part. So just for anyone who doesn't know who Alex Ovechkin is, he's an NHL All-Star, Stanley Cup winner, future Hall of Famer, and all-time leading scorer. Thank you to the Monumental team as well for this generous gift. All right, the winner, and I asked the winner to please stand up to be recognized. The winner is Max Howard. Okay, getting the show on the road here. Our fourth pitch of the night is Racket Theory. Please, let's welcome Racket Theory to the stage.
Thanks. Hey everyone, I'm Neil.
And I'm Evan, and we're here tonight because tennis is dying. While there's an incredible pool of talent and incredible opportunity for stories to be told, it's very difficult for tennis to capture attention. For years, tennis has operated off of one primary assumption, that when you turn on the TV and you watch Serena, Rafa, or Roger, you stop, you watch, and you engage. But these names are evolving away from the game of tennis. And what's left is a generation that operates in the attention economy a little differently. So, as a result, we have a new generation of fans that love the sport but feel disconnected from it. So, 12 weeks ago, we decided to change that. We're 4 founders, we live together, we build together, and Racket Theory started in our pink townhouse on O Street. Our friends call it Pinky. And we have one premise, and that is, if tennis media doesn't want to evoke to a small number of fans, our young fans, we're going to do that ourselves while building a platform.
Our goal is to become the #1 destination for the next generation of tennis fans. A place where people who are purists of the game and people who care about what players are wearing can unite. This is what Racket Theory looks like. After dozens of interviews, we realized that the next generation consumes media in a completely different way and prefers very different sources. So Racket Theory is built to accompany everyone. That's why we have multiple different platforms. For the reader who enjoys deep dives, you can access our Substack. For someone who likes clean visual content, our Instagram is our fastest growth engine. For experimental short and long-form content, our TikTok has been a huge hit. And lastly, our website has been a home-based one-for-all destination, a place where the entire Racket Theory universe lives. This idea of bringing the content directly to the next generation is working. 600,000 views in 90 days, completely bootstrapped. But despite the name, Racket Theory is not just a theory or a TikTok account. It's something that's been proven within the industry. We've worked with giants like the USTA, industry equipment managers like Lux Lawn and Pongbot, community organizers like Liveball and Oyster Tennis, and tournaments like the Atlanta and Garden Cup. Despite working across very different areas of tennis, the one thing our partners agree on is that we're able to engage an audience that they haven't been able to.
We aim to generate revenue in these 4 different buckets. November is a huge turning point for us because the goodwill that we have with our partners has been able to allow us to ask for to monetize off of our content and creative work. With Mark Tank's money, we plan to invest in product and equipment, live event coverage, back-end and marketing for our intellectual property, and then community programs.
A lot of times people ask us, what is racket theory? And to us, this is what it looks like. A place where people from all different walks of life can come together and enjoy a shared love. This is what cura personalis and care for the common good looks like in real life. If this is what tennis looks like now, imagine what the future could be. We're here to build the future, and we're just getting started. Thank you.
Is it good for you guys like a house of highlights for tennis?
Yeah, you'll do that.
Yeah, that's a good question. So we've often been asked like what we compare to, and I think the closest idea is sort of like this idea of like a bar stool for tennis. Right now, our idea is that a lot of these like bigger players in the industry have sort of relied on this idea that this older generation of tennis is going to keep viewers there, but the new generation has not been sort of reluctant to accept that. So our idea is to connect with them.
How do you think about pickleball and padel, and is that
We think
inclusive of them, or?
We think about it a lot, and I'll admit I do play pickleball because like my knees have started hurting and stuff. However, we're not going to be here and be like tennis elitists and say like pickleball can't exist. But I think that we are a community that's focused on tennis, and we've realized that these other sports have had explosive growth. But we attribute that to the fact that they've been active in creating touch points with the young generation. There's nothing like magical about padel or pickleball. It's the fact that they've engaged and gone out there where tennis has sort of relied on this old guard. So I think that our sort of platform is complementary to those. Like pickleball growing is not something that hurts us, but we want tennis to grow as well.
What were the 600,000 views on? Is it like a specific piece of content? Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
It's a culmination of all our different platforms. So we kind of added everything from TikTok, Substack, Instagram, and we kind of put it together. We don't have traffic on our website yet. That's why we need money for a full stack, but so we can make that a little bit easier. But yeah.
Have you run this by any of the local tennis intelligentsia, Francis Tiafoe, Mark Ein, any of those?
Yeah,
folks?
so actually our first event was the City Open. That's when I decided to launch. That's when I put out my first essay. We're connected with a really nice guy named John Borden who was able to get us tickets for the event. And it was a really successful event because we were able to connect with a lot of different people. And we're building through boots on the ground. We met Naomi Osaka's agent at the City Open. We haven't been able to connect with Mark Ein, but in November, December, we have 2 events. So the Atlanta Cup and the Garden Cup. And the players that will be there that we're covering are Naomi Osaka, Francis Tiafoe, Ben Shelton, and Tommy Paul.
And I think like to add to that, being in the DC area is like our identity. We first started with Oyster Tennis, and these are a group of people who create sort of community organizations like on the ground in DC. So every Saturday we walk to the courts 20 minutes from here, produce content, we play in the games and stuff. And like I think that's what racket theory starts with, just like on the ground, getting people to hold rackets, and then it moves online after that.
You let those people invest, own equity, so that it's, because that's one of the issues right now, that these players, they eat what they kill. They don't do well in a tournament, they don't get money, but the networks, these new streaming, and so I think if you came up with a help us, invest with us, you have an editorial voice and you own equity in the company, they might get a lot of momentum that way.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's what the future is looking like. I think like the next couple of months where we get players involved in our platforms, like that's when you get to like the sort of like long form interviews and documentary type content, which seems to really resonate with this generation.
How much money are you raising again? What did you use?
Here, so I think the majority would be production. We've seen like a correlation directly. Like we first started filming this like
everything on our phones.
Everything on our phones. Yeah. Our slogan was low cost, high quality, and we want to make that high quality, high cost. to make it higher quality. We've seen like as we've invested in like better camera equipment like out of our own funds, we've seen that we've gotten like way more traction with our audiences. I think that like plays a lot better when we're able to produce content. We show up to events with camera equipment. I think a lot of it is also on the fact that like for the full stack.
We want a full stack website. We're not coders, but we built our own website with some coding tools. But we do want a home to house all of our intellectual property because a lot of this game that we've seen through sports media is about intellectual property.
You guys play tennis? Is that how you?
Yeah, so I think like our founder team is kind of the audience we like are trying to get exactly. So like Evan is like a tennis super fan. I'm someone who used to play in like high school when I was younger. Noah, who's sitting in the audience, was like a U.S. Open ball boy. And Aaron, our other founders, never touched a tennis racket in his life. So I think in that square, everything in between is what racket theory is, and I think our team is the perfect example of that.
10 years from now, what does your company look like?
So I can
we
talk.
We kind of want to venture into more creative direction. I think right now we're just trying to grow. Our top line is growth. So like we're kind of letting it take it wherever it goes. And we've had to make some concessions. So it is catering to short form content, but we do see that there's a value in long form and something that's slower and stranger. So we hope that we can create a publication that's kind of a community as well. We don't know what that looks like exactly, and I think it's difficult to put our finger on it because we're not a traditional product or service, but I think that's where it's going.
Thank you. Okay, so this next one's a super cool opportunity. You can spend your semester interning part-time for a startup or high-growth company through Georgetown Startup Interns. When you're not at work, you'll be attending workshops taught by outstanding entrepreneurs and inspirational guest speakers. If you're looking for a summer internship, check out GSI. GSI matches high-quality students with startups around the world for a unique internship and cultural experience. And lastly, the Georgetown Entrepreneurship Summer Launch Incubator, SLI, is a startup program designed specifically for Georgetown students and current year graduates who want to launch a new venture. Many of our most successful student-led ventures have participated in this incubator, and several have gone on to gain admission to other regional and national accelerators or receive investments. All right, on to our fifth pitch of the night. I'd like to welcome Thrippy onto the stage.
Hi, we are Thrippy. We are your personal AI thrift shopper, helping you create a more sustainable and thrifted wardrobe through our fun shopping and styling experience. In the US alone, the thrift clothing market is $56 billion, $31 billion of it being online. We are seeing 14% annual growth, and this category outpaces traditional retail by 15 times. And just last year, 58% of consumers said that they purchased at least one item of thrifted clothing. So we are leveling up thrift shopping by creating a one-to-one personalized experience with our AI. Our AI learns your closet and your vibes. It surfaces items online to fit that vibe, and it creates a really fun shopping experience with fun, personally selected looks. So you can do many things with it. You can chat with it, upload videos, upload photos. Maybe you want to upload your favorite athlete or actor. And with just a few images, our AI can produce outfits that are shoppable. Right now, Thrippy searches over 100 million items through 7 platforms. We have 50 beta test users, and we have 3 strategic partnerships that we've signed out of those 7 platforms, including the eBay, The RealReal, and ThredUp. Our revenue streams include commission-based revenue averaging 7%, monthly subscriptions that start at free, then $2.99, then $9.99 a month, and ad revenue. A little bit about me. I've spent over 15 years building programs and operations for a number of sectors. I've worked with people like General David Petraeus, Chef Danielle Boulud, and our former USC president, Carol Folt. And at USC, I helped expand financial access for veterans, saving them over $300 million. So when I started this company, I thought I didn't want to move forward unless it was sustainable and supported the circular commerce. And I wanted to tap into people's individuality and allow them to create self-expression through their clothing. So this company is very much rooted in Georgetown values. Up until now, we've bootstrapped the entire thing through the prototype. We are now building the MVP stage, ready in December. And then in 2026, we plan to launch the app with social integration, which allows users to save photos directly from social media. So the prize money impact is really important to me because this will allow me to get to the next 2 phases. Thank you.
So I'll start with go-to-market is how do you go and attract your initial users?
Yeah, so when we were doing the beta test, we had 50 engaged users. I would say 30 of them used it at least 3 to 5 times. And when I was evaluating their feedback, they were really engaged because they said there's nothing out there that is personal. There's a competitor who can find you an exact item. So like if I take a picture of your jacket, we might be able to find the exact item, but nothing to fit overall vibes. So I think this shopper is actually an untapped market, and it's very personal, and we will be the first mover in this space.
Now, how do you find them, though?
Oh, how do I find them? So right now, I have a wait list for the beta test users. I'm part of some women's online groups like Slack communities and things like that. I have a slide on this. I think the initial part will be organic growth because it will be niche communities. People who thrift, they don't necessarily shop at like Kenneth Cole, Ann Taylor, and they don't go shopping like that. These are people that you can find in Reddit forums. You can find them in online communities. A lot of my friends are thrifters, and when I talk to local thrift shop employees, they say that this is a common theme, that they need something like this.
How did you put your outfit together today?
Yeah. Oh, me? So my shoes are thrifted, my jacket's thrifted. Yeah.
Are you a student here? MBA?
Yeah, I'm an MBA student. Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about how the platform functions in terms of, okay, so this recommends this product to me, you're scraping that information from these different sites. Are you then sending the person to that site to purchase and then attributing that and charging them? Or are you actually placing the order for them on the Depop or the ThreadUp?
Yeah, so currently in the way we're building it is it's affiliate-based revenue with signed partnerships. So the user will start out on our site. Right now, it does link out. In the future, we plan to create an environment where they can actually purchase, and we're still deciding whether we should be the company of issuing that, the merchant. But for right now, it does link out, but those are cookies, and they track them for 15 to 30 days. So even if that person goes back to the site, they can go back to that item. But our platform also saves those items that you click. So you can just go to your homepage, and you will have your haul, which is everything you've ever touched or saved or videos that you've uploaded. And so it becomes like a sticky environment for people to come back to.
What data will you own? Because you won't have the credit card. You're not doing the
No,
transaction.
we will not own the credit card. We'll have no inventory. So this is the overhead is really low. So I've been able to build this by just partnering with Neil Shaw's company at Entrepreneur Residence here at Georgetown, Think Nimble. And so I'm not a technical co-founder, but I've been able to partner with them and do this by myself.
Charlotte, a lot of people are using FIA and kind of that comparative now Phoebe Gates just did in the app. Is there a comparative where you might find the same pants, 3 different pairs, and you get to choose the one that's the cheapest?
Yes. So, and just to address FIA and how it's different, FIA is looking for exact items. We are not looking necessarily for exact items. But yes, you can filter it by price. You will also be able to filter it by size and sustainability. So eventually, there will be a way for, if you are shopping for an item and you want it to stay within your region and reduce your carbon footprint, you can click that and it will allow you to show you the closest item.
Yeah, great.
Do you have benefits of continuing with the platform? Like, do you hold if I upload a bunch of pictures, does that stay on your platform for use going forward?
It does. It's on our platform, but we don't sell information. We won't sell your photos, your data. We have a privacy policy that addresses that.
Stickiness angle that
the stickiness angle?
Yeah.
Are you saying that they would want to come back because we
If
have.
I
Yes.
upload a bunch of pictures, are they there? Then that you're training your models off of.
Exactly. So then it will become generative AI will be trained off of those models to help you further along your shopping journey.
And remind us again how the revenue model works. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So currently three revenue models: commission, monthly subscriptions. A lot of users could stay in the free model. The $2.99 and $9.99 will allow you to get more. Oh, sorry, went the wrong way. Here you go. Allow you to get more searches, and it will allow you to do video uploads. And then the premium will also create returns protection and unlimited photo and video uploads. Thank you.
Okay, this next opportunity, it's a big event on campus, the Venture in the Capital Summit. It's actually one of the newer entrepreneurial events on campus, but it's become a big deal. The last event, they had some pretty big speakers come, including Hoya Kara-Swisher and Mayor Muriel Bowser. They also had C-suiters from Sequoia, JP Morgan, Y Combinator, among many others. So expect even more impressive and inspiring speakers in January 2026. If you're interested in public policy or venture capital, you guys should definitely come check out this event. Next up, we have the Petition Company. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. I'm Michael. This is Krish, and we co-founded the Petition Company. And in just a second, I'm going to show you a name on the screen. And I'm going to have Jeff Reed tell us what that name says. All right? Ready, Jeff? Ready. Jeff, what is that name?
I have no idea.
That's Linda Hashimoto. But because Jeff couldn't figure that out, Linda doesn't get to vote this year. Here's what I mean. I worked on a campaign last summer in Philadelphia, and on this campaign, we had to get our candidate on the ballot. And the way we do this is by collecting signatures on a sheet like this. The process goes as follows. We collect the signatures, we submit them to the clerk will make sure that each signer is a registered voter at the right address, and then the clerk will place us on the ballot. However, our opponents' lawyers are hell-bent on removing any name they can from our list to stop us from making it on the ballot. So we'll add an extra step right here where we ourselves will check each signature to make sure that each person is a registered voter at the right address. And this process is certifiably insane. We get a sheet like this. It's 10 million lines long. And we'll look up each signature and make sure that it's there and that the address matches. It's incredibly slow, incredibly expensive, and most importantly, we end up eliminating roughly 40% of names that are difficult to read. And these 40% are almost always names of people who are disadvantaged. In Linda Hashimoto's case, she is English second language. Each time we remove a name, we silence a voter. And this results in hundreds of candidates missing the ballot every single year.
Our proprietary algorithms scan each name, find the exact match in that huge voter file, and allow a user to simply click and move on in a fraction of a second. We offer two different services, one where we license out the software, and one where we run our own in-house check using our software. Our AI is efficient, maintains quality, and most importantly, enfranchises every single voter who chooses to sign their name. You guys remember Linda? Our software found her name in less than a second. Jeff, I think we got you beat here.
Since we launched 4 months ago, we've landed 5 contracts across 3 states, totaling over $20,000. And just last week, we got a big contract in Illinois to get a governor candidate on the ballot. Last month, we also partnered with a local NGO to validate 2 elections overseas, the presidential election in Malawi, the presidential election in Honduras coming up. We also have 6 outstanding contracts that we simply don't have the manpower to complete. And all the money from this competition goes right toward hiring workers so we can actually execute on these contracts in the next few weeks. Market is roughly $40 million in the US and $200 million worldwide, because at a time when democracy is at risk, both at home and abroad, we have a unique opportunity. And that's to use cutting-edge technology to make sure that we protect the voice of every single voter, just like Linda and just like you. Thank you.
Nice job, guys. I miss, who gets charged per signature? Who pays the 40 cents per signature?
We have roughly 3 different markets. One is the campaigns themselves that want to validate. 2 is firms that are hired by campaigns to collect signatures. And then 3rd is the governments, which do the official check to make sure that you're a registered voter.
And the TAM that you guys showed, $40 million for the market, isn't enormous. Are there other areas, industries, workflows where signature verification is helpful? Could you expand this to other categories?
Yeah, absolutely. So our software does a great job in scanning snippets of information off of templated documents, getting those searched through huge files of persons, and getting it out in the interface for us to be able to check. So that expands beyond politics. For example, any sector that has handwritten names. So medical documents, a lot of people are signing their names, and you got to check, who is this person, rather than a nurse having to search through that, or test taking that still goes on paper and pencil like the SATs. All of those fields we're able to do, and we feel we can do better than anybody else because it's scanning names and searching through a huge file.
Did you write code to do the OCR here? I mean, I'm on the board of American Express. They still have to do signatures. I mean, this would be dramatic for safety and security. But what did you do did you write software that is?
Yeah, so we wrote software that's able to scan the names, and then we use Google Cloud Vision API for the image vision aspect of it. So that's able to kind of, when we give it what specific boxes we want to look at, that's what's able to look through it. And then we use different processes like multi-threading, et cetera, to search through that huge 10 million voter file thing in seconds rather than hours. That's how we get it going quicker.
Is it all hosted?
So we use Google Cloud, we use Mongo, and then for the actual running, we use compute power from AWS.
And the process we've established is entirely patentable. Met with lawyers last week, and it's certainly something we can put a patent on.
Who are your competitors?
Our competitors in the petition validation space, there are 3 big ones. They've all been doing this for roughly 20, 30 years. And these firms will do what we do, except they will do every search manually. So instead of the software recommending a name, they will search a name, which we only do with roughly 10 to 15% of names.
What would prevent them develop their own software?
It mostly lies in the patentable aspect that we have. So we have an incredibly fast way of not converting the names, that's quite generic, but in the speed with which we can get a snippet from a templated document and then scanning, this is millions of names we're talking about, and then comparing them against a voter file of 10 to 30 million names. So the speed with which we've been able to do that is not something that's easily replicable.
It sounds like you guys have trained this globally on different types of names, different characters that are, or is it just purely our alphabet?
In those 2 elections we worked in, or we've worked in Malawi and Honduras is coming up. In Malawi, they actually use English letters for their elections. So we haven't yet run it on characters outside of the English language, but it's certainly coming up because we're going to be working on more foreign elections, hopefully after Honduras.
What do you need in terms of hiring to be able to serve those 6 kind of pending contracts and what you expect for next year?
Yeah, absolutely. So today, the way we do contracts is we'll get a large contract. I have a bunch of friends at Georgetown who devote a couple hours a week to checking the signature. If you ask a person at Georgetown if they work for the petition company, there's a good chance they're working on it. And they'll do a couple of hours. The issue is that they don't always have availability. The people we train once don't stick around because they've got midterm next week. We have midterms every week here at Georgetown. And so we have difficulty in the continuity. So immediately once we get this money, it goes toward hiring full-time workers. They're checking all the time. So when we get a massive influx of signatures, we're ready to take it on the next day. And we have people who are trained on the standards of every state, because every state is different. So it's getting hirees so that they're knowledgeable and that they stay around for a while.
Would you work for a campaign that does not match your political ideology?
We do, and we have. Christian and I are on opposite sides of the political spectrum, so perhaps we'll fight over which campaigns we want to take on. We worked on both sides. So a campaign in Alaska was a Republican-leaning campaign. Worked on one in Philadelphia, which was a Democratic-leaning campaign. So ultimately, our mission here is to make sure that every voice is counted. We don't care if you're a Democratic voice or a Republican voice. So we remain guided by our mission rather than any political party.
What's your background in what school are you in here at Georgetown? I'm just curious.
I'm a dual degree MSB SFS. My background is almost entirely in political campaigns. My parents are Jewish refugees from Russia, so they instilled in me kind of a deep love for the American political system. So I worked on roughly 10 campaigns before I came to Georgetown here, and in my first year here, I started my first company, my first successful company. There have been many that were not, to do campaign consulting, and that's running to this day. We're going to hit our first six-figure year this year. So all campaigns, so both the seed idea and the seed capital came from that. And I'd be nowhere if it wasn't for the tech behind us. So Krish, tell us about the tech side of things.
I'm in the college studying computer science. So there you go.
Thank you.
All right. We have our third and final giveaway of the night. And we're giving out tickets again. We are giving out Wizards tickets and then tickets to the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Yeah, that one you don't want to miss. All right, guys, quiet down, quiet down. All right. Again, please, the winners of the giveaways, do not come down here. We'll email you, and you guys can pick these up later. All right. So the winner, and we do ask you to stand and be recognized. The winner of the Wizards tickets is Crystal Cheng. If she's here. No, she's not here. Oh, yeah, she's back there. Okay. And then the winner of the orchestra tickets is John Justin Moore. Okay, pitch number 7. Let's welcome Parachute onto the stage.
Hello. Please raise your hands if you have a parent or a grandparent that has had a fall and injured themselves. Wow, that's a lot of you. Well, you're not alone. 1 in 4 over 65s suffer a fall each year in America. That's over 15 million of your elderly loved ones falling over every year. My name is Joseph Shenson, founder of Parachute, a company on a mission to prevent fractures occurring as a result of older adults falling outdoors. My urge to find a solution to this problem stemmed from seeing my nana, Norma, suffer a fall whilst gardening outside and fracturing both wrists. Even after this incident, though, she refused to purchase any of the currently available protective solutions. These solutions, like an inflatable airbag belt or vest, can be very effective in reducing the risk of injury, but they don't solve the problem, as the adoption rate is so low. This is because they're bulky, stigmatized, and therefore rarely worn. Wearing protective devices like these can reduce the risk of fracture by up to 70%, but only 2% of over 65s are currently wearing them. Parachute solves this by incorporating protective padding discreetly into fashionable apparel. We will be going to market with our first product, a puffer coat. This is because a high number of falls occur outdoors in unfamiliar and slippery surroundings. The protective padding is strategically positioned in the most vulnerable areas: hips, wrists, and the head. Our approach to fall protection is discreet, stylish, and therefore highly adoptable. We will be using the best materials and components to produce a premium protective coat that you can trust, retailing for $500. While it isn't a budget option, it is insignificant in comparison to the $50,000 that is spent on each senior hip fracture patient. The medical costs of a hip fracture are massive, but on top of this is the emotional and human toll that these falls have on our seniors. They suffer a loss of independence, isolation, and loneliness. Parachute won't be a one-product company. There is a need for discreet, stylish, and protective solutions across the apparel spectrum, from jeans to hats. I have the track record required to make Parachute succeed. 6 years ago, I founded a furniture company in the UK with just $5,000. Today, it generates $6 million a year in sales and employs over 40 people, all achieved through bootstrapped organic growth. Parachute reflects Georgetown's core personality values in caring deeply for both the mental and physical welfare of our senior citizens. This prize money will be used to finish our first physical prototype, which I will then take and create viral marketing content with to generate pre-orders for our first production run. Thank you.
awesome. But what do you have in this that Under Armour can't do tomorrow? Anybody can see this and just say, oh, we're going to do that.
Yeah, well, I think there's two things to it. So firstly, this has been a problem for a long period of time, and most of the solutions at the moment are coming at it from a medical mindset. Those inflatable solutions I showed you, even exoskeletons to try and keep people propped up, but the adoption isn't working. Essentially, we're coming at it with a fashion-forward mindset. Compared to Under Armour, I'd say quite simply, elderly protection isn't the most sexy industry, and perhaps fashion companies that do other things haven't decided to come into this space.
I have a 4-year-old and a close to 2-year-old. Have you ever considered making this for children?
Well, there are definitely other use cases for sure.
Asking for my wife.
There are definitely other use cases for sure.
How do you know that this would actually work? If you haven't done a prototype yet, how do you know what the functionality of this would be in actually protecting people from a fall?
Yeah, so this example here, this is a undergarment that some people wear. This is essentially made of just polyethylene foam. That can still reduce the risk of fracture by 50%. So there's a 20% gap between an inflatable solution and just foam. Our approach is to do not just foam, but an additional layer on top with a substance like D3O, which essentially is very soft and liquid under no impact, and under impact gets very hard. We've done some computational tests already, which can use models to essentially see if it will reduce the force enough. And so we know that the fracture threshold that we need to be below is 2 kilonewtons. So that's the magic number that we need to be below. But we think we can do it.
So it'll be in that 50% range.
We'd like to be higher towards 70%. The simplest solution is we could just bring polyethylene and make it fashionable. But we want to go beyond that and get close to what the inflatable solutions are doing, which is closer towards a 70% reduction.
Do you or someone on your team have a medical background that's been advising you through how this product should work?
At the moment, no. I have spoken to some medical researchers in this space, really to see why someone hasn't done this before. And a lot of those answers have been simply it was too costly. It's like the exoskeleton cost $10,000. The solutions I showed you before, like $1,000, $2,000. But there's definitely a problem. Let me just go to... So at the moment, the US healthcare industry is spending $80 billion on senior fall-related injuries. And in the UK, the NHS is spending $3 billion. So they see it as a problem, but at the moment, we don't have anyone medically on board. But that's something we could do in the future.
If you advertise this preventing a fracture, do you worry that the FDA may want to regulate it as a device?
Well, I said that today to convey the message, but in more formal advertising, we'd look to talk about reducing the force rather than preventing fractures, because that would slow us down. We then need to go through FDA approval.
But would your customers understand the difference?
I think so with the right marketing, yeah.
What is your go-to-market? How would you market it?
Yeah, so initially D2C. We're going to be using social platforms to get to both those. We also think there's a big customer base of the kids and grandkids of these at risk in the 65 area that will buy it for them. And so we can get to them through social media. And even those that are getting over 65 are well equipped with social media nowadays.
Joe, earlier we talked about tariffs and kind of where that sits in the U.S. Where would you produce this? Would you produce it overseas? Would you produce it here?
I want to produce it here in America. I think, given it's quite a sensitive topic, it's something people care deeply about. I think they want to know it's produced with quality and care. So producing it here in America is pretty important.
Is there an angle to bring the cost down through insurance or other subsidies that would be able to, I'm concerned
absolutely.
about a $500 price tag?
Yeah, so that's why I referenced it on this slide here. There's definitely an interest from both public bodies and private bodies to try and reduce that risk of getting those costly hip fractures. So we believe they will become willing to come on board down the line in offering maybe a discount or a subsidy towards the purchase of the coat.
Do you have comps of how big this could be? Like how many people you think you could sell this to and how big of a business that would be?
Oh, no, that. Yeah, so at the moment, $1.5 billion is being spent on injury prevention aids for seniors. That's all been done in a very medical way. I think with a more fashion-forward approach, that can really grow and explode. Obviously, there's 61 million over 65s in the US at the moment. That's only growing, adding about 1 million a year. So the market isn't getting any smaller.
What does Hilda think about this? Would you be recommending this?
I already invested in this.
I love that. Have you ever thought going B2B and taking it to, say, homes where at risk elderly or living?
I think my priority at the moment is to build a brand and try and make this fashion forward.
Yeah.
I don't want to license it out or anything like that. The idea of building a brand so that people feel proud or not caring about wearing this is important.
Yeah.
Okay, so one of the superpowers, I think, of our entrepreneurial community here on the Hilltop is that we have an incredible med school and we have an incredible healthcare entrepreneurship initiative. So it's there's going to be an event called Building the Future of Health Innovation, and we encourage you all to be there. This will be hosted by the Entrepreneurship in Health Initiative. It's a cross-campus event. It'll connect students, faculty, and alumni who are passionate about shaping the future of health and wellness ventures. The career panel will feature leading professionals in health entrepreneurship and include a 45-minute moderated discussion where panelists share their career journeys, highlights, and advice for students exploring careers at the intersection of health and innovation. And most importantly of all, there will be food. All right, our last pitch of the evening, let's give it up for Wave.
Okay, let me just text this. Oh, this is so bad. Wait, no, that's bad. Hey, do you want to get food? Oh, no. Okay. Do you want to get food now? No. Okay, wait, that's weird. Oh, this is so annoying.
Whoa. Why aren't you leaving?
What? Hi, my name is Layla Campbell.
And I'm Alyssa Dew.
And we're the co-founders of Wave.
What you just saw is a lot more common than you think. Hundreds of students at Georgetown experience the same anxiety every single day.
You're probably wondering how we know that. Well, it's a funny story. When Alyssa and I met as freshmen, we actually bonded over the fact that we have so many acquaintances, but like no real friends. What the issue really boiled down to is the fact that we're not having enough in-person, spontaneous, and repeated interactions to really grow genuine connections to where we feel comfortable texting someone, hey, like, want to get lunch?
So we really leveraged our business backgrounds and we conducted customer discovery with over 70 students at Georgetown, and they all had the same problems. They had super busy schedules, cliques, and social anxiety, preventing them from in-person connection.
So what did we invent?
Wave, one tap to real-world connection. You're walking to Leo's and you want to get lunch with a friend. All you have to do is choose what you want to do, where you want to do it, and Wave will instantly connect you with a friend, someone you know you want to hang out with, who wants to do the same thing at the same time.
And after we created our first beta test, people loved it so much that we now have over 300 users ready to use Wave. Why? Because Wave is community and diversity. Our beta users stated that Wave allowed them to actually engage with the dynamic, diverse Georgetown community.
Exactly. Wave is true connection, embodying all the best parts of our social media apps today, including the effortlessness of casual messaging and the in-person aspect of event planning apps. So, what's next?
Well, we've already done quite a lot, but we're ready for more. Phase 1 is our expanded beta, taking those 300 users off the waitlist and onto the app. Phase 2 is our product market fit, and Phase 3 is our DMV rollout. Because as Hoyas for others, Wave may start with Georgetown, but it will definitely not be ending here.
And don't worry, we have a plan for revenue. In our first year, we'll make $50,000 with 2 streams, Wave Plus subscriptions, and advertisement deals.
But that's just the beginning.
Wave is the future of in-person connection anytime, anywhere. You land in London, Wave for biscuits. You land in Japan, Wave for sushi. And the best part, you'll be able to do it with the Hoya just 5 seconds later.
So what we are inviting you to do today is to join us. With your investment, we'd be able to do two key things. First is expansion, making sure our DMV rollout becomes a reality. And second is hiring a top-notch technical team to ensure that our expansion can actually be supported by our app.
So my question remains, why aren't you waving?
So, what other competitive apps would you consider to be competitors? And, are they the major platforms or not?
Yeah, of course, I can touch on this a little bit. So Wave, we have kind of in the circle here because you have these in-person apps like Eventbrite that host events like the event you're here at today. And then you have apps like Snapchat or Messages where you're like texting someone, let's go get lunch. But the issue with those apps that we kind of see as quote unquote competitors is that if you're texting on Messages like I saw up here, I'm awkward, I don't know what to say, and you're kind of nervous. But if you're texting through Eventbrite, you're hosting an event for hundreds of people like this event. There's nothing kind of at the circle of that. So these are our quote unquote competitors, but they don't do what we uniquely do.
How do you get people to come back? So let's say they broke the ice, now they made a friend, and then now they can just text them. How would you avoid that from happening and have them continue coming to the app?
So essentially, as principal, Wave is an app that really helps you maintain your whole circle. So obviously you have your small circle of friends that you're able to just text, but having Wave as a way to connect with those loose connections as well is a really big pull for our users. And on a technical side, we also have notifications that will remind users to come back to the app. They'll notify them when their friends are in the app, and also a couple of days have passed and they haven't been socializing with their friends. That's something that we really want to keep in touch with.
And so how often are you picturing more or less people using it? I'm just curious, ideal state.
Yeah, that's a great question. So the long-term goal is basically every time you do anything that you don't want to do alone, like literally anything, you tap a button and it connects you with someone in 5 seconds. So as soon as you have a thought to go grab a bite at Leo's, which I do, I don't know if anyone else does, but you essentially hit a button and then immediately you're connected with someone who wants to do the exact same thing as you. So multiple times a day.
Awesome, thank you.
Who's your target demographic?
Yeah, so obviously we are the target demographic. For the very beginning, we love to target college students to connect us further, but we also are looking to expand in the long term to really keep people connected even beyond college, as we mentioned with alumni. Having people in that circle of loose connections, keeping them in contact throughout your life is something that we really want to explore.
So the dating apps like the Tinders and the Bumbles have obviously a mass of people on them. They have all their information. They have location data and matching. They've experimented with these kind of friend features where instead of finding someone to date, you're finding someone to be a friend with. It doesn't seem like those have gone much of anywhere. How do you see this comparing to that?
Yeah, that's actually a great question, and we got it literally many times when we were pitching for way back when. And essentially, we want to think of this completely separate from anything in a dating app. So essentially, how we go different than other dating apps is you're not like essentially meeting people. The prerequisite to being friends with someone is that their number's on your phone and their number's also, you have a mutual phone number. And so essentially to solve that problem is like you already know them enough and you have connections with them. You're seeing them on campus, you're seeing them at your job. So it's not like you're creating new connections with like people and you don't know if it's going to end up in a relationship, et cetera, et cetera. You're just re-deepening the ones that you already have, if that makes sense.
And what's the proposed monthly subscription fee?
Yeah, so we have a whole breakdown for you. It's around $5. We don't want to charge users for that much. And obviously we have planned for product market fit in the future to really refine that price.
Is there a mapping feature? I mean, we just talked about that. So can I tell that you guys are at Leo's and maybe you don't want me to come to Leo's or something like that? Like, how's that going to,
I'm so grateful.
Doesn't happen often, but every once in a while. Is that part of the app?
Yeah, thank you so much for asking that question because that was a big question we had in the beginning. And essentially, there's no really mapping feature because Snapchat causes a lot of anxiety right now with that mapping feature, and Instagram just unrolled a similar feature, and it really causes anxiety because the goal is really one-on-one deep connections. It's not checking what other people are doing.
Yeah. On that same note, does it give you options like there's these 3 people at Leo's, or is it just a one-to-one take it or leave it?
Yeah, our video didn't play for some reason, but we have the whole coded app and essentially what it would look like, and you would see the essentially 3 people that you have options. So if you really don't like one person in your contacts and they show up, you can hit the other 2. So, yeah.
What's the it sounds like the app is partially built. Do you have MVP?
Yeah, so we built our MVP a couple months ago. We've been continuing to develop it. And we have a limited technical team, like an individual contractor, but we're really looking to expand that. We also are like very closely working with the App Store. We have a version on there right now, but it needs a lot of improvements. And to really make this vision a reality, we really want to expand that technical team to increase that capacity.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, I really appreciate it.
Okay, so that concludes this evening's pitches. Now the judges, while they take the time to finalize the scores, I want everyone to please get your phones out for the next crowd engagement of the night, the People's Choice Award. So anybody can vote for who they think should win the People's Choice Award. Simply text the number that's associated with the startup that you're voting for to the number on the screen. So the startups are listed in the order in which they pitched, and please, again, text the number associated with the startup and not the name of the startup. I'll leave the screen up for a few more seconds so everyone can send in their votes. Okay. All right, hope everyone's done voting. So, in the meantime, I'd like now to reintroduce our distinguished judge and benefactor for this exciting pitch competition, Ted Leonsis.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I do this every year. I have to buy time as the judges go and vote. And it really is, this is our favorite night as a family. We have a Caps game right after this. And but these kinds of events really are remarkable. And I know my son and Jeff will be rolling their eyes because I tell this story all the time. Almost 50 years ago, I started my first company on this campus. It was around the bicentennial. We're about to celebrate the 250th year, and I started a business. I was a poor kid. I had rich roommates. I was reading the Washington Post. They said 35 million people coming into Washington, D.C. to celebrate the bicentennial. And I said, there must be something we can sell these people. And my rich roommate, Lawrence Armour, said, you figure it out. You do the work. You write the plan. I'll fund it and venture capitalize you. And I started a business, Snowco Loco Inc., red, white, and blue snow cones. Introduced variable pricing into the market based on the temperature. And it was really a remarkable experience in starting a business and hiring people and having to sell at retail. At the same time, here at Georgetown, my mentor was a Jesuit priest. And I had to do a senior thesis, and I was kind of lazy, and I worked in the library for like $2.50. And he said, you're behind schedule. What are you going to write your thesis on? And I went to the library and said, I'm going to find the smallest book in the library. My job was kids would read books and leave the books on the tables, and I would have to go and Dewey Decimal System, put them back in place. And I found Old Man in the Sea. Ernest Hemingway, first chapter. It was a good day. The sun was hot, sky blue. Second chapter. I said, this is my book. And I got the book, and I told Father Durkin, I read this book, and I want to write something on Hemingway and his career. And he asked me what was the book about, and I blabbered something dumb, and he said, you're better than this. Go read some other books, which I did. And Father Durkin said, maybe you should use a computer to be able to tell the difference on when did Hemingway write this book. Did he write it in the 30s when he was a journalist, or later in his career? And because the Old Man of the Sea won all these awards, Pulitzer Prize and the like. And we had one computer on the campus of Georgetown University. It's an IBM 360 mainframe in the registrar's office. And Father Durkin, who died at 101 years old, was the greatest person ever. And he said, I'll put together a team for you. There were 2 people on campus that knew how to program. And there was a woman who was a graduate student in linguistics. And he mashed up a team that I got the credit for. And we wrote the first algorithm, a liberal arts algorithm that basically I had to type in the first 5,000 words of books and articles written in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s. I'd have to do it at like 2 o'clock in the morning when the computer wasn't churning out kids' grades and what classes they were going to. I mean, it's really amazing on 50 years what the change in our world is. Your iPhone has more computing power than the entire campus of Georgetown University did 50 years ago. And we wrote this algorithm, and I proved that Hemingway wrote something earlier. And those 2 experiences, being introduced in 1976 to computer technology and founding my first business, leads me here. And so starting Bark Tank, and this is what, the 9th year, 10th year we've done this, and hearing the success stories that come out of this, it honestly is one of the most thrilling things that I can imagine. And so I really appreciate and love that everyone comes here, the way we treat entrepreneurs, the way we treat the coaches, the professors, the job that Jeff has done here. It's remarkable, remarkable. And Jack DeJoy was one of my classmates. There's no one that I respect more and love more than Jack. We now have a new president who's being onboarded. I've had the privilege of speaking with him and sharing some information with him. I think we should immediately, as soon as he comes on campus, explain to him that the entrepreneur movement for good. I remember Father Durkin telling me that Jesus was an entrepreneur, that Jesus was out being an evangelist. Jesus was out selling a new idea. He was a disruptor. And that has always stuck with me. And as a Jesuit ideal, that is what our job is. We all came to Washington, D.C. to make the world better. We all want to stay in Washington, D.C. to continue to fight the good fight to make the world better. And it's so interesting in yesterday with the election, we have one edge of our government talking about business and big tech, and we have another now edge of our government basically saying we want to take away from business to fund social programs. Regardless of which side it is, essentially starting a business, growing a business, creating jobs, paying taxes, being a central part of a contributor. So I remind people all of the times, presidents come and go, mayors come and go, senators and governors come and go, universities, sports teams, entrepreneurial businesses that cut through those first 5 years and make it. We are the bedrock of society. And so all of these people that are starting companies and growing the companies, the role that they play is an American iconic dream. America is a startup nation. That's what we're trying to do here with Bark Tank, to just continue that and to do it with the Jesuit ideal of developing these double bottom line, triple bottom line kinds of companies. One of the criterions that we have on judging the winner is, are you living Georgetown ideals? And I can guess which of what the judges have voted on as the winners. And I think we're ready to have no, still not ready? Okay. Keep the shtick going? Okay. The puck drops at 7:37 though, so
35 minutes from now, yeah.
And so I would like, when the new president comes on board, to get him from the get-go to understand that business is not big companies, it's startups and entrepreneurs, and that the students here, they're not only just starting businesses, but the entrepreneurial spirit comes into big companies, comes into the church, comes into all of the philanthropy and charities in the city, because every company needs, every organization needs some kind of reinvention. And that is what I see kind of our platform at Georgetown being able to develop. My son, who went to Penn undergraduate and Georgetown Business School, he tells me all the time, you can recognize a Georgetown student versus a Penn student. You can see from the entrepreneurial endeavors and the quality of the thinking, the criticality of doing the right thing in the right way, that comes from Georgetown. We're not judging our metric of success purely on the financial return. We're looking at what is the social responsibility and the kind of payback that we can give to society at large. And so couldn't be prouder to be involved with Georgetown, couldn't be proud of what Jeff has been building here. You know, we throw out some of these facts about the winners. A couple of years ago, one of the winners, Proxy Food Panos, who was a judge last year. We have two winners here. It's truly amazing. How much money have you raised? $100 million. And you know, I have a venture capital PE firm. We have invested billions and billions of dollars. Sweet Green, we were the first investor in Sweet Green and Kava and the like. But this generation of entrepreneurs, humble. They raised $100 million and it hasn't gone to their head. And I think it's because of the grounding that they get at a university such as Georgetown. So Jeff, really, really fantastic work there. And I'm going to turn the mic over to you to talk a little bit more about what we're doing on the go forward with the program. And then we'll come up and give some money away.
Thank you. Thank you so much to Ted and Zach, the Leonsis family, for making Bark Tank possible, our Venture Lab, and so many things you do here. Thanks for sharing those words with us. My colleagues, I thanked them earlier. I'll thank them again while they're in the back room, like writing names and dollar signs on checks here. We're putting all that together. But Ben Zimmerman, Aveline Argo, Jacob Stiglitz, and Lucinda Bakken are the best team in the world when it comes to Entrepreneurship Center. So thank you to them as well. Will you guys join me in giving it up for Andres, our amazing MC here? All right. So I don't yet have the big checks to announce the winners, but I do have, so maybe I'll just take a moment to share some other great things that are going on here at Georgetown. Our programs really continue to grow. This past school year, we had over 3,000 students engaged in Georgetown entrepreneurships. 3,000 students, and the number is growing significantly each year. And that's whether they pitch in a competition like this, attend one of our major events, join one of our clubs, take our courses. All of that is to the effort of helping every single Georgetown student develop an entrepreneurial mindset. That's our ultimate goal, is to help everyone develop that entrepreneurial mindset, because no matter what career path you choose, you're going to need to learn how to develop, be a creative problem solver, and that's just a great way to make a difference in the world. So I think I now have the ability to make some announcements, and we have a special guest to help us pass out the checks. All right. Yes. There we go. All right. And I'd like to ask Ted and Zach, if you don't mind coming up, stand here, and you guys can help us pass out checks, and we'll do the photos. All right, so we're gonna go in order here of let's see. We'll do our finalists first. Our first finalist, $5,000. Oh, yeah, I'll go ahead and do this. First finalist for $5,000, Skincare Connector. Come on up. Okay. Just hang out over here. There we go. All right. Our next finalist for $5,000 is Wave. All right. We have a fourth place winner for $10,000, Thrippy. Third place for $15,000, Racket Theory. And by the way, you may notice the dollar amounts are starting to add up. A big thank you to Ted and Zach. They've actually decided to increase tonight's prize pool from $100,000 to $125,000. So that allows us to give extra dollars to each of these folks. So another third place winner for another $15,000 prize, Tariff IQ. All right, there you go. And we have two teams that tied for second place, each getting $20,000. Our first $20,000 winner is Parachute. Doing all right? Good. Okay, that leaves us with two teams. Our second place winner for a $20,000 prize is Capsy. And yes, that leaves us with our first place, this year's top dog for $30,000, the Petition Company. And while they're here, I'm also happy to say another $5,000, your votes, the People's Choice, to the Petition Company for another $5,000. All right. All right. So with that, I want to congratulate all our competitors. You guys stick around. All of you are going to do group photos. Thank you to our judges. Stick around for photos too. I want to, as we close the event out, I want to invite everybody here to join us on the fourth floor. We have a reception that is already going with food and drinks. We're all gonna head up there in a moment. We'd like to ask everybody not to come to the stage. We're gonna do some photos here. This is kind of like the wedding thing. Like, we're gonna have our photos. So go on to the reception. Thank you everybody for being a part of Bark Tank 2025.